What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, guys. We got a pretty interesting one here. This video was actually sent to me like, I will say like 4 to 5 months ago, but I had it, just put away, because at the time I was like, I don't want to talk about, but it came back up because I was doing some music from a Swedish rapper, and I believe he got killed due to gun violence. That's probably somebody sent me this, and of course what was going on here in the States, but the gun violence capital of Europe, Sweden, the gun violence capital of Europe. Interesting topic. So definitely interested in hearing what y'all have to say, especially according to the video and what they're talking about. But hopefully this don't get blocked, because I know it's a specific topic on a certain channel, probably a news channel, but somebody did send me this months ago. If you have, let me know in the comments, because I did. I pushed it off, man. I pushed it off, but I was like, you know what? Let me see, because I've been talking. I did like a video or two about gun violence, this month. So, but let's jump into Let's see
SBS advises that the following program contains content that may disturb some viewers.
World of daring story.
Sweden. Often seen as a postcard of neutrality, happiness and tolerance. But in recent years, this seemingly peaceful nation has been rocked by gun violence.
That's all the evidence. Could be shell casings, blood traces.
Last year, there were 342 shootings.
Oh, man.
Per head, that's more shootings than anywhere else in Europe.
Oh,
this
my
year is on
God.
par to be the deadliest one so far.
We know how to shoot. Make it fast in the head.
Boy, they just walked up in a Max and just shot dude. What the heck?
So far in Europe. And
That's
this year is
wow.
on par to be the
They be
deadliest
doing
one
it,
so
though.
far.
We know.
And I know what some of you gonna, I know that the United States of America is worse when it comes to gun. But we talking about Europe right now. We not talking about, we know how bad it is. We talking about compared to all of Europe in this one, Because I can say a lot, but then again, I know what's happening here.
Tonight, we investigate what's behind this gun crime epidemic and how it's fueling anti-immigrant sentiment.
Så hur ohämmad, ansvarslös massinvandring sliter isär och splittrar Sverige.
Summer's almost here in Sweden. While many Swedes are making the most of the long days by socialising and being outdoors, another man uses it to pursue a unique hobby.
Hi.
Hi.
Is it Mike?
Yeah, it's Michael.
Hi, Mike. Evan.
Hey,
Good
hi,
to
Evan.
see you. Good
Nice
to
to
see
see you. So I had a car parked over here.
An office manager by day, by night, Mike documents crime scenes in the Stockholm area.
Yeah, just about a month ago, there was actually a guy shot dead right in there.
Oh, really?
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow. So just a month ago.
Just a month ago, 50 meters from where I parked my car.
Right. Is that sort of gang related, possibly?
Yes, yes, it was.
These
there's
images
gangs
are from
everywhere.
that crime scene. A morbid fascination to some, Mike feels a duty to record and share these crimes with society.
Dang.
Often, he says, they don't even make the news.
The crime statistics,
Wow.
yeah, in every way, even if it's stabbings or shootings or explosions, everything is increasing, and that's a scary development in my opinion, and we can't close our eyes to it.
Mike gets tip-offs from Facebook,
Oh,
news
man.
sites, and some of his 40,000 followers on Instagram.
I think since the beginning of this year, I think hovered around maybe 25 to 30 shootings.
Wow.
Dang.
Since the beginning of
That's
Since
a
the
lot
beginning
for
of this
Sweden.
year, yeah, in January.
So 30.
And that's just the ones I've been covering myself. I haven't been to all of the actual shootings.
Wow.
We're heading for Skarpnäck, where gun violence and violence is increasing basically over the last couple of months. If you look into your right there, You can see on the square there. There was a man in his 20s who got shot with several shots.
Wow.
Dang.
So this is like the centrum. So this is like all the shops are here. This
Yeah.
is like the shopping centre of the area. Broad daylight,
Broad
lots
daylight.
of people.
Yeah.
That's what be tripping me out, because even here in the States, people getting killed and stuff in broad daylight.
The
Like,
hundreds
it's
of
crazy.
shootings in Sweden last year, many of them were in public spaces like this.
Wow.
Today,
People don't care no more.
there's
They
no
don't.
respect for third party. You just go ahead. If you want to kill someone, it doesn't matter if it's broad daylight or in the middle of a
Yeah,
centrum
people
or
don't
if
care.
it's lots of people around you.
By posting images of these different shootings on social media, Mike's point becomes
Hey,
clear.
my birthday?
Swedish gun crime is out of control.
Dang.
Malmö is one of Sweden's deadliest cities.
Nah, Melmo.
There's been 298 shootings here in the past 7 years.
That looked like the projects of Sweden right there. That did.
We've been given rare access to a hospital and one of its most experienced physicians on the front line.
So this is where the ambulances come in.
Ardavan is an emergency medicine specialist. He's treated countless gunshot wounds over the past decade.
So a patient with gunshot wound will be brought in here from the ambulance.
And what would you classify a gunshot wound victim usually?
It's a trauma level 1 patient. That means that we have everyone down here and waiting for the patient.
It's a massive commitment of hospital resources.
Oh, definitely, because it's not only resources from the emergency department, but it's resources from the whole house, the whole hospital. We have a lot of surgeries that may be
That's an immediate
postponed,
surgery.
because all the resources are focused on this gunshot wound.
What sort of injuries are you normally seeing?
It can be anything from wounds to the extremities, usually the legs, which are not so serious, to really serious wounds to the chest and to the head. However, more and more criminals are using bulletproof vests.
Wow.
But this protection has only made Ardavan's job harder. Gang members are now shooting to kill.
I'm telling, they ain't lying. People coming for blood, man. That's why I'm like, growing up, I seen the gang violence and all that stuff. You know, that's why I can be familiar with this, but it's just crazy, especially these days. Like, people know, these dudes know you only got two choices, and that's the grave or jail with these lifestyles. People do not, and it be the young guys, and then most of them are convinced by older. It's craziness.
This is an example
Never
of
understood
a
it.
gunshot wound to the head. The
Ooh.
bullet has come in into the left side of the brain, through
Dang.
the whole brain, and stopped at the right side
Oh
of the
my
brain.
gosh.
Is that survivable?
This is not survivable. Absolutely not. We can see
Dang.
partly because of the massive hemorrhage, we are seeing the bullet is still here. We have a lot of air in the brain. A person with this kind of gunshot wound will unfortunately never come out from it alive.
Dang. My Lord.
Ardavan is not only a doctor, he's also a criminologist.
Criminologist.
His family immigrated to Sweden in the 90s.
چای می نوشی شما؟
آره مرسی.
He grew up in the very communities that are now experiencing so much violence.
That's crazy.
It's heartbreaking to see
how it be.
communities, which I myself have been a part of, are today problem areas.
Okay.
And that's the toughest thing, because I see that too. Like, I grew up in some tough areas and stuff as well. So it's like I knew all the guys that was in the gangs, you know, making these bad decisions. That's why I never understood. Like, we all have opportunity. It's just what you do with them and who you have
خیلی
around you.
سخت شده. یعنی
like it's hard to
آوازه
help
بادی توی
places you come from,
شهر
though.
افتاده از دست این مجرم.
هم توی شهر هم کلا داخل تمام مملکت کم و بیش رفتار بکنه.
As a man who lives to save lives, Ardavan is worried about the young people involved in these crimes.
They are from what we in Sweden call vulnerable areas. That is areas that are that have a high rate of immigrants usually, a high rate of unemployment, a low rate of education, and in my opinion, that's a major failure from Sweden's part that has not been able to integrate these individuals properly to the society.
That's so true.
Sweden
This is the
has
wildest
60
thing right
vulnerable
here.
areas where gang crime like this is having a devastating impact.
That's crazy. That's wild.
Rosengard is Malmö's most notorious vulnerable area. At its peak, there were 40 shootings in this suburb alone in 1 year.
Oh my God.
We've been able to walk in here like this?
No, not at all.
For the past 40 years, Glenn and his colleague Stefan have been policing this neighbourhood.
We got about 100 different nationalities living here in this area, and we got around 20,000 inhabitants at all.
It's estimated that 90% of the population here are immigrants and 1/3 are unemployed.
Dang.
People live here very friendly,
Yes.
actually.
Yeah, well,
But there's a few assholes
Yeah, always.
destroying it.
That's true.
On this place in Mars 2017, a young guy, 23 years, was shot to death by two killers. One with a Kalashnikov, one with a handgun. No, normally
Dang.
it's a drug business that's gone wrong in some way, but in some cases it's about a girlfriend.
What kind
That's
of drugs
crazy.
and where are they coming from?
Oh, a female. That's
They're coming
crazy.
from the
Boy,
continent,
it
of
ain't
course.
worth
We don't
it.
have any own production, and usually it's smuggled over the bridge from Denmark. And it's very common with cannabis, of course, but also heavy drugs like cocaine. Cocaine is very big.
Is it big business for the gangs?
Very big, very big. They got a lot of money.
Of course.
And you have buyers from all over the southern part of Sweden coming here. It's also a problem for us, because how can you persuade a young man that earns 5,000 euros per week to get a normal job?
Yeah, that's true. That fast
Drugs
money.
and the lure of cash is the main driver behind the violence. I'm heading to Gothenburg, home to one of Sweden's longest-running turf wars.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
In 2015, 3 gang members opened fire at a rival in a packed pub.
That's crazy.
2 dead and 15 wounded.
They're watching too many
This war
movies out
is
here.
still raging today.
That's
And
crazy.
as I'm about to find out, it's not only the police confronting the gangsters.
Hi. Hello. Hi, I'm Evan. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming over.
Dang.
Could you tell me what's the name of the group?
Aktiva mamma.
Active Mamas.
Mammor.
Okay.
Det kan hända ibland. Det hände många skjutningar. Men det är speciellt under sommaren och under vintertiden. Det kan hända. När kommer mörk, de kan komma in i gängerna som vill skada folk.
I'm
Like
telling you,
most-
that's how they get them when they're young. I'm telling you, they get the young ones. You know, of course, when you're young, you need somebody to look up to. Especially if you liking something at home, you're gonna be looking for somebody to look up to, be like. You know what I'm saying? Like those different things. It's so easy to fall victim to the streets.
Vulnerable areas, this community has a large immigrant population, high unemployment, and is known for drugs and gang violence. 3 or 4 nights a week, these mothers set out to patrol the streets, looking for young men who might be involved or targets of these crimes.
Ja, vi fogar brotta direkt när vi ser ungdomar som säljer droger eller de håller på någon inte bra. Vi pratar med ungdomarna och säger varför ni står här, vad gör ni här? Ni måste gå hem. Det är dags att sova. Det är inte tid att...
These guys have guns. They're shooting each other. Isn't this dangerous for you?
No.
Why not?
Varför när ni känner ungdomar hur man är smal?
Yep.
Alla ungdomar bor området. Ni känner oss. Vi respekterar.
That's one thing, and that, I ain't gonna lie. That's one thing you can say, cause you know, I know some people that don't mind. If you know what I mean, they don't mind. They don't mind throwing them hands. They don't mind. But when you know somebody for so long, it is a different people. They got enough sense. That's why it's never too far for them to, you know, that's why they never too far to change their ways, because they got some sense. They got some respect. It's just, they just out here beefing. Got an op. That's what they're saying now. They got ops out here. I don't know why you would want enemies. I wouldn't want to live a life just full of enemies like that. I have to watch my back every day. Wouldn't want that.
This group believes the community needs to lead the fight against drugs and gun crime.
Lösningen är samhället och svenska myndigheter måste se den är allvarligt. Många ungdomar dör varje dag. De måste lägga pengar, mer polis och tunnel.
Och så inte bara polisen. Föräldrarna måste komma ut och kolla deras barn vad gör ute. Föräldrars sida måste komma ut.
These mothers and aunties all know young men caught up in the gang violence.
Dang.
But for Hiba, these patrols are personal.
Ja, det är svårt för mig. Där är brottsplatsen som dog min son.
Oh, dang.
At just 16, Elias was a good student with a bright future. He was sitting here with friends when he was gunned down in cold blood.
Dang.
Men den som hade stora vapen, när han kom det, han var bestämt. Han började skjuta honom. Och så den andra gjorde, han blivit lite. Men...
Dang, that is
Jag
crazy.
kan inte förklara.
No, I'm sorry.
Dang.
To date, no one has been convicted of Elias's murder.
Wow.
Now, why do you think your son was shot?
Den här frågan, jag kan inte svara. Men jag känner min son. Min son är inte gangster eller...
See, that, I ain't gonna lie. As a mother, when these kids go to school, you know, I know as a mother, you're probably thinking, oh, my kid's good. I know them, you know. You go to school, you're a different person. You're around certain people, different people. Like, I grew up, especially in the elementary. Like, it wasn't until like middle school, high school, you know, I started changing my friends groups and stuff like. But when I was coming up, elementary, 5th, 6th grade, I was with the gang members. I was doing those things with the wrong people. Why? Because at home, I'm chilling. You know, my mom stayed up. But at school, you're a whole different person. You don't know who you got connected. Because when we get home, we don't say everything. We don't do everything. You know, we have friends. I have friends. They was able to do whatever, move around. Like, we 7, 8 years old. And I'm like, some of my friends come up like, dude, you live all the way across town. How were you able to walk over here across town at 7 years old back in the day? It's crazy when you think about it, but when you at school, you're a different person. You're a different person. You're around certain people and stuff. So I'm thinking that's what it had to be. That's what it had to be. Like, sometimes you're a part of something and your parents don't know.
Såna, han inte hålla på någon dumma saker. Det folk säger.
That too. That could be right too.
Det var kanske fel person.
That could be right too. Just never know, man. It's crazy.
Back in Rosengard, Glenn and Stefan believe they've found a way to reduce gang violence. The program is called Stop Shooting.
We need to identify who is part of the criminal organizations that we have, the criminal gangs. And then we address them.
And it is a very clear message. And if you or anyone in your group shoot, kills, or is involved in any deadly violence, it will have consequences for all of you.
That's a RICO.
No matter who.
Ain't that a RICO case? We call that a
Those
RICO case.
consequences mean extreme scrutiny by the police and 12 other government enforcement agencies, including regular searches, prosecutions, and seizing assets.
We are very close to harassment. We're taking their euros because that's money. We're taking the drugs because that's money. They cannot own a car because we will seize it.
Dang.
We try to make their lives as miserable as possible.
At this point, if they ain't stopping,
Today,
you
Glenn
got
is
to.
doing what's called a notification. While police deter gang members with punishment, other government agencies in the program are ready to help them start a new life.
That's good.
Rebecca
That's a good
is
thing.
a social worker.
So we sit down with them and we ask them what do you think you need to live the criminal lifestyle, and then we see if we can meet those needs.
I mean, the thing is, it's sad because, I mean, I'm just watching video. I know Sweden is a good place, but here in the States, it's sad because, like, I work in education and I see these kids want to be 20 things when they're little. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a policeman. I want to be a basketball player, football player. By the time these kids are 10, you ask them what they want to be. I don't know. Then by the time high school is almost over, they finna grad. What you finna do with your life? I don't know. So they are here just jumping into anything because they don't know what they want to do. They don't know. That's why, like, as you gotta put kids in everything. You know, you gotta give them options, because if you don't give them options, they gonna go out here and make the wrong choices. You know, based on thinking it's gonna help them because they never knew what they wanted to do or could do.
What's the profile
So they're gonna be doing the wrong
individuals
thing.
that you normally meet?
Many of them are between, let's say, 22 and 28. So they are young men.
For safety, they've enlisted the help of another police officer. They're meeting with a young man who owes money to a gang and has
Dang.
threats on his life. For the man's security, they asked us to wait here, but the audio you're about to hear is real.
Vi har ju uppgift om att du har en hotbild. Om du eller någon i ditt kompisgäng, gruppering, skjuter, spränger eller utför dåligt våld. Vi kommer ligga på 24 timmar om dygnet.
Om du är trött på det här så ska du veta att det finns det en väg ut från det och vi kommer hjälpa dig med det.
Vad är det för hjälp?
Och vi på avhopparverksamheten hjälper många att flytta till andra städer.
Och nu är min mamma då. Kan hon följa med?
Vi är liksom öppna på alla fronter för att försöka hjälpa dig om det är det du vill.
Boy, you're gonna need I ain't gonna lie, with games like that, you're gonna need a new identity out here and really go somewhere.
How many people have,
It ain't that
actually been
easy.
sort of relocated or helped?
Well, the last 3 years we have moved 40 persons. They have been relocated to another city.
Oh, that's good.
And we have also helped 85 others within the city of Malmö.
Dang.
So it's quite a big number.
Well, that's good that many wanted to change their life. That's a good thing.
Since the program began, shootings in Malmö have decreased by 2/3.
That's good.
It's
That's
now being
progress,
rolled out
progress.
in other gun crime hotspots across Sweden. But to find out if it might work, we've managed to contact a gangster involved in armed crime who will talk to us only if we guarantee his anonymity.
In Malmö, there's a program called Stop Shooting. Do you think that could work here?
What do you mean, the snitch program?
Is that what you see it as? A snitch program?
Not the snitch
But
program.
aren't they just helping people getting out of the city? Out of violence?
Why the fuck should we do that? We're not snitches. Police, they can fuck themselves.
Dang.
What's the cause
That's the
of
mindset, though.
of the killing?
Drugs, money, power.
And how young were you when you first got hold of a weapon?
13.
Dang.
When I ghetto blaster here in America that holds the weapon like this, you know.
He said we're not ghetto. My guy said he not a ghetto blaster. I always thought when people hold us out, they got that from movies. That's because we seen movies do that. Hood classics.
How's it changed from your day when you grew up?
Them hood classics. That's how they were shooting on them hood classics.
13-year-old does prison for children, maximum 3 years of killing.
Dang.
We heard that more and more people are wearing bulletproof vests.
It doesn't help shit.
No?
Because we aim it at the head. Why the fuck should you have a vest though? If you're ready to kill somebody, you're not gonna shoot them in the chest. You make it fast. In the head, boom.
I never understood gangs. If somebody owed me thousands of dollars, why would I kill them? Because that means I'm never going to get my money. It doesn't make sense. If somebody owe you a lot of money, if they owe you $20,000, why would you kill that person? That means you ain't going to get your money anyway. So was money really the problem? It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. Like, they ain't paying you. If they're alive, they have a higher chance to pay you. What is this? Oh, immigration.
I'm in Sweden, where record rates of gun crime have left authorities scrambling for solutions. And with an election coming up in September, it's proving to be a defining election issue. According to recent polls, 44% of Swedish voters believe law and order is the most important political issue. And one party says it's offering a solution to the problem it saw coming years ago.
Sverige under de senaste decennierna. Det går i princip inte en enda dag utan att vi möts av nya rubriker om skjutningar, dödsskjutningar eller annan grov kriminalitet.
I'm at the 2022 campaign launch of the Sweden Democrats. Jimmy Åkesson, the charismatic leader of the party, has moderated this group from a white nationalist outfit to a centre-right populist powerhouse. With most of the gun crime occurring within migrant communities, Åkesson is blaming immigration for the law and order problem.
Måste offensivt slå tillbaka de direkt samhällsfientliga, systemhotande krafter som vill förstöra vårt land.
And they've made it the cornerstone of their 2022 campaign.
Sverige ska inte vara en frizon för illegala invandrare. Sverige ska inte vara ett paradis för kriminella. För oss Sverigedemokrater är det egentligen väldigt enkelt. Passar inte det Sverige erbjuder, då är det bara packa väskan och åka hem.
This is interesting because I ain't gonna lie, most people, especially when they come to a new country, they broke. They ain't got nothing, so they go into these low economic communities and all. And what's there? I can show y'all places where I grew up, and what's gonna be there? Nothing but drugstores, and it's nothing. Versus where I live now, got everything around surrounded us. But growing up in those communities, it's poor, beat down houses, all these things in the community is poor. So what are they doing to get money? Anything, because they realize we struggling, especially young men. They start realizing, oh, my mom, she's struggling. Fast money ain't always the way, but that's their mindset. They ain't got nothing. In these poor communities, and they're probably seeing crackheads on a day. They ain't seen no crackheads in this video, but they seeing crackhead. We seen crackhead, drug dealers, and everything growing up. Especially crackheads. Crackheads gonna do anything. They gonna work hard to get some crack. People don't realize that. They never complain. They just do what they gotta do to get that crack.
As a right-wing party, recent data shows that the Sweden Democrats are stealing young voters from the country's progressive and ruling parties. Dana's parents came from Iraq. She grew up in the vulnerable area of Malmö.
When I was growing up, there was a lot of shootings, there was a lot of rape, and I never felt safe going out, especially as a woman and especially as a Middle Eastern woman.
Why have you joined the Sweden Democrats?
Because I was sick and tired of not being able to go outside, being afraid of people from my own home countries. I was actually fearing for my own life. Especially
Emil joined the Sweden Democrats after being robbed in his hometown, a small village in rural Sweden.
What is the link between the crime, though, and immigration?
Well, there are many links. One of them is, for example, we see increased segregation in Sweden. We have areas in Sweden where people barely speak Swedish at all. People feel no loyalty to the majority society. They don't feel any loyalty to the Swedish state, Swedish law. And I think a lot of people, or some people in those areas, also feel this disrespect towards the Swedish people.
And one thing is, of course, Sweden Democrats says they should be curbing immigration almost completely. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, we need a net zero immigration to Sweden.
Do you agree with their policy of almost zero immigration?
Right now, yes, because we need to integrate the people that came to Sweden first before we can take in anyone else. I really believe that a small immigration can be positive for a country. It can help us build the country and take the country forward.
Now, this is interesting because, like, I know this is the Sweden Democrats, and they're saying basically we don't want immigrants right now. We need to focus on our own. I am not going to lie to you. This was the reason Donald Trump wanted to build a wall. Because I feel like he was saying the same thing. Even though I know he's Republican here, I feel like he was kind of saying the same thing. You know, I didn't get too much. I ain't trying, this ain't about Donald Trump. But what they're saying, that's kind of like why he wanted to build a wall. Like no easy access for immigrants to come to America type thing. And I could be wrong. Y'all can educate me more. If you know more, let me know. But that's what I'm getting off of this. That's what I'm getting off of this.
Right now, that it will not happen if we continue to take in immigrants.
In the race for votes, Sweden's major parties are now starting to talk along the same lines. With Progressive Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson recently stating that Sweden has failed to integrate the vast number of immigrants that it's received in the past 2 decades. But not everyone agrees that immigration is the cause of Sweden's gun crime epidemic.
I think people are really upset about it happening.
Lisa Pelling is an academic who's studied the integration of immigrant communities.
The Sweden Democrats' scapegoat is always to blame everything on immigration. And it is true that the likelihood of
I don't think it's,
committing a crime is higher if you have immigrated to Sweden or if you have immigrant background. It is true. But the likelihood of committing a crime is much, much higher if you are a school dropout or if your parents have received social benefits. So it's really a question of social segregation, it's a question of socially disadvantaged areas.
Lisa believes education is the key to integration, and it's a place where successive governments have failed.
And I believe so too, because, for most kids, college ain't for everybody, but as you live, you're going to always be learning. Like, even if you get a job, you're going to have to learn a new skill. Education is important. I feel like most kids, when they hear education, they just school. No, educated. You need to get educated on a lot of different things. It ain't just, I got to go to school, sit in the class. No, education is beyond. It's so much more than just sitting in a classroom learning.
So we have a tremendously large and increasing dropout rate. Around 17,000 young kids every year.
Just imagine here in the States,
17% would leave the compulsory school. And at 16, in an advanced economy like Sweden, there are no jobs for 16-year-olds without a formal education. So these kids would feel that their prospects, their futures, there are a lot of doors closing on them. And of course not everyone, but many are then attracted by the option of joining a criminal gang.
Yeah. Now they're looking at quick money. Let me get some fast money.
1/5 of the Swedish population is from a migrant background like Ardavan.
Here we have my library, my favorite place.
As a criminologist and doctor, he says the problem is Sweden is failing its immigrant communities.
The main question is, if you stop immigration, will the shooting stop? Well, perhaps not, because those who are doing the shootings today are mostly individuals that was a child when they came to Sweden or have been born in this country. If a child is grown up in Sweden with Swedish values in Swedish schools and still have not these values, for example, and not even can talk Swedish properly, then that's a problem of the society which must be fixed.
Yeah, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes
While
the village.
Sweden edges towards the right and grapples for solutions, the violence continues.
Dang.
Photographer Mike has just heard of another gruesome crime.
Oh, so we just got something here. Oh, it's actually a tip. There's someone saying that they heard gunshots. In Västerås.
Okay, where's that?
It's a bit far away. It's an hour drive. And they're saying that the police is in the area, and they've also heard the police chopper in the air. So we're gonna go there and check out what's happening.
Man, that ain't like police got it harder these days. They ain't gonna lie, everywhere.
Guy has been shot, according to my information.
Right.
This is called Hammarby, the area. There's been actually a couple of shootings in this area previously. Right behind that house somewhere on a street called Liegatan, like 2 months ago, a guy was shot.
Dang.
That's all the evidence. Could be shell casings, blood traces.
As the police leave, just a small sign of the night's drama remains.
Oh yeah, there's blood there.
Oh, right, I see.
So yeah, that's where we found him, or perhaps where he was shot. Does it look like a bullet hole over there?
What did you hear about what happened to the guy? Was he killed or injured?
He was injured. I don't know how serious the injuries are, but I've heard he's injured and taken to the hospital.
Do you think Sweden as a society is starting to understand the scale of this problem?
Yeah, I think they do. People are starting to understand what's happening around them and how violence actually is increasing in the society around them.
Here
10
too,
years
man.
back,
Here
you
too.
didn't see this happening. Maybe it happened once, maybe twice every year, but now it's happening. Now this is the rule.
And with no sign of slowing, it's uncertain if a change in government will actually stop the bloodshed.
Dang. Yeah, this one of those definitely hits home just because here in the States, man, it's worse. It's worse. Cause I'm sure y'all see here in Texas, I know it's certain places, like me personally, I know anywhere in the world, there's certain places that you should not go. You should know. And you know, if you don't know, but you might not know these places, but you just know certain places you're not supposed to be at just because, violence and all those different things. But I'm sure y'all know here in the States, Chicago, they call it Chirac for a reason. They call it Chirac. Different, especially compared to here. It's like, oh my gosh. Like, it's almost unbelievable when you hear what's going on. Like, and you see even rappers and stuff, like, they like, stop the gun violence. Like, at this point, these rappers, they rapping about guns and stuff, but now they even get to the point, like, they tired. They tired of hearing about it, especially in these days. Like, growing up and stuff, I'm sure they seen it a lot because that's just what it was, as a kid. What can you do? What more can you do when, these adults are making these certain decisions? But, man, it's definitely gun violence. I think it's a worldwide thing that needs to stop, man. But, just seeing Sweden, and like I love the country, man. Y'all show so much love, and I love the country. It's the first country I want to visit and stuff like that, But it's something bad going on everywhere around the world. That's why it's always good to be careful. Me, I stay prayed up. I gotta stay prayed up. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it's been a minute. I've been having this video. Somebody sent it to me months ago. finally decided to check it out because, like I said, I was listening to some Swedish rap drill. I think it was drill artists and stuff like that. So, man, there's hoods and gangs everywhere. Hoods and gangs everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So, you just gotta be careful. You know, will there be a solution? Yeah, there's for every problem, there's always a solution. So, but I mean, that program seemed to have decreased a lot of the crimes, but there's still gonna be some stuff going on, of course. But this was good. Glad I got to check it out. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Send out more recommendations. That's all I have. Y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.